This is Greg Fowler for Online London. I'm with Aaron Broughm, who is a candidate for mayor in the City of London. Welcome.
Thank you.
If elected, how many hours per week on average do you expect that you'll spend working in your elected capacity?
24/7.
Do you think ward councillors are currently paid enough for the amount of work that they'll do during the next term of City Council?
Well, that's a two-part answer, which would be, as I said on the mayoral debate the other week, I agreed at that time that whether it be ward councillor or mayor, they should be working on a full-time basis, not a part-time, for the amount of money they get paid.
London's governance model is currently undergoing significant change, and that includes, of course, elimination of Board of Control. Do you think that this will increase the necessity for ward councillors to inform themselves about issues outside of their own ward boundaries?
Definitely it would.
Do you live within the geographical boundaries of the electoral area in which you are contesting this election?
Yes.
How many of your post-teenage years have you lived in London?
I'm not certain of the question. I'll pass.
Have you attended any standing committee meetings over the course of the last 4 years?
2.
Have you attended any Board of Control meetings over the last 4 years?
None.
Are you familiar with the Municipal Act and the Municipal Councillor's Guide?
I'm familiar with the Municipal Act, yes.
Strengthening Neighbourhoods recommended development of a neighbourhood matching fund type program for large and small community projects other than celebrations or events. Do you support that recommendation?
Definitely.
What maximum per project amount do you think would be appropriate for the city to contribute?
It would totally be based upon what the event is that they're asking the funds for.
Do you support development of a community program to fund the creation of public art in public places?
Definitely.
Should the City of London and its boards and commissions embrace the concept of making their data open and accessible to everyone as often as is possible and adopting open standards for that data?
I believe so, yes.
When existing software applications have to be replaced or when software licenses have to be renewed, should the city adopt the use of open source software whenever that's possible?
I'll pass.
Is the city's communication department being given enough resources, money and personnel to properly maintain the city website and to inform citizens in a timely fashion?
Definitely not.
Should citizens be able to subscribe to subject-specific RSS feeds from City Hall in order to stay informed?
I believe so.
Should citizens be able to download the agendas of upcoming public meetings, including advisory committee meetings, at least a week in advance?
Yes, they should.
Despite the requirement of the Municipal Act that all City Hall meetings be public except for specific reasons, it's been argued that they most often are not because of the inability of the public to hear what's being said. Do you support the adoption of a policy which mandates the use of microphones in all public meetings at City Hall?
I support microphones. I also support that all public meetings should be open to the public at all times.
Do you think that the City of London ought to be webcasting all of its public meetings?
I believe so.
Do you think that all of the city's boards and commissions ought to be webcasting all of their public meetings?
I know they're not, but I believe they should be.
Do you think that the chairpersons of all public meetings at City Hall ought to have to announce motions and amendments to motions and the number of votes for and against those motions so that the public can understand what's taking place?
As an elected, we are automatically under, what do you call it, the people put us in office, therefore, yes, we should be accountable to them at all times.
Should London hire an Auditor General?
I believe it should be hired from outside the city. Privatized, sorry.
Should homeowners have to pay a percentage of the cost for the repair of damage to underground infrastructure on their own property that has been caused by city-owned trees?
No, they shouldn't.
Do you agree with the placemaking concept of neighborhood gateways?
Yes, I do.
Should there be increased user representation on the London Transit Commission?
I believe so.
If the City of London is going to provide venture capital to businesses, should the city be guaranteed a return on its investment in the event that those businesses become profitable?
I believe so.
Should people be allowed to naturalize their lawns?
Only to some extent.
Are London's pedestrians and pedestrian issues sufficiently represented at City Hall?
I don't believe so.
The traffic and parking bylaw prohibits people from using any sidewalk for any purpose other than pedestrian traffic, except as specifically permitted. Should downtown patios, which consume most of the width of the public sidewalk, be permitted?
Only if they're not hindering the civilians' walkway.
When closure of a public sidewalk for construction purposes takes place, what steps should be required to ensure that pedestrians are not forced out onto the roadway in a manner which puts them at risk?
Myself, I saw one today down to the police station. It's where they have an extra fencing section going off around, indicating exactly where to walk to around the mess.
Is the warranted sidewalk program sufficiently funded?
No, it's not.
Is the warranted walkway program sufficiently funded?
Definitely not.
Old unlit streets are not lit unless there's a local improvement program application and a cost-sharing agreement amongst owners. Do you agree with that policy?
No, I believe it should be covered in the taxes.
Do you think that special funding ought to be provided to London Police for the purchase of additional Speedwatch radar trailers and the cost of having the auxiliary police unit deploy them on a frequent basis?
With the amount of police officers we've just hired, definitely not.
Should the city be spending as much as it is per year from the federal gas tax to construct on-road bike lanes in London?
Well, the bike lanes are needed, but I believe they're overspending.
Should bicycles be allowed on public sidewalks?
No, they should be kept to the curb in a bicycle lane.
Should persons in motorized wheelchairs and other mobility devices that are on the public sidewalk be obliged to yield for pedestrians?
I believe they should be in the bicycle lane as well.
Should the City of London install more bike racks?
In regards to city buses, yes, definitely. As well as city street signs.
Do you think that theft of bikes is an important issue?
Definitely.
Do you have any suggestions about what might be done to combat the problem?
Well, if it's a government building or anywhere near downtown core, then we have sufficient enough cameras out there that should be able to pick it up.
Is the City of London currently spending enough money to promote its web-based ride match service?
I believe so.
Should there be dedicated and discounted carpool parking spaces on downtown streets and in city-owned lots?
And definitely there should be.
Should every signalized London intersection provide advanced left turns?
It would depend upon the traffic usage in that intersection.
Does the city currently provide sufficient funding for the Community Gardens program?
I don't believe so.
Should all dogs have to be muzzled when they're not on their owner's property?
No, not so long as they're fenced in only.
Should dogs be allowed at community events?
In public areas, never.
Should people be able to raise chickens in their backyards?
Yes, I believe in what Stephen Orser fought for with that.
That's the end of the question and answer interview. Thanks for your cooperation.
No problem, thank you.